Hello, and welcome back to more Top Scares with Mr. Biggs. Let's get into it with 4 of the top true scary stories about serial killers in the Old West. Enjoy. The Whistling Widow. In the small town of Dusty Springs, rumors spread like wildfire about a serial killer known as the Whistling Widow. It was said that she would lure unsuspecting men into her home, a quaint little cabin on the outskirts of town, with promises of shelter and companionship. But once inside, her true nature was revealed, and her victims would vanish without a trace. Nobody knew her true identity, as she always wore a veil that concealed her face. The only sound that accompanied her was a haunting melody, a chilling whistle that echoed through the night. It was said the whistle was a song of sorrow and longing, a siren's call that drew men into their doom. As the body count rose, the town of Dusty Springs fell into a constant state of fear. Doors were locked, windows barred, and the streets emptied after dark. The once vibrant community now lived under the shadow of the Whistling Widow, their spirits dampened by the weight of the unseen menace. One day, a drifter named Sam arrived in Dusty Springs. Sam was a man with a tragic past, seeking solace in a town that was haunted by its own darkness. Drawn to the mystery surrounding the Whistling Widow, he decided to uncover the truth and put an end to her reign of terror. Under the cover of darkness, Sam made his way to the cabin. The wind whispered through the pines as he approached, carrying with it the faint echo of the widow's haunting whistle. The air was thick with tension as he pushed open the creaking door, revealing a dimly lit interior. Shadows danced on the walls, and the scent of dried roses filled the room. And there she stood, the Whistling Widow, cloaked in black with only her eyes visible behind the veil. Sam could feel her gaze, cold and penetrating, as she continued her mournful tune. The room seemed to vibrate with an otherworldly energy as he moved forward, determined and unafraid. Their eyes locked, and for a moment time stood still. Sam saw pain and desperation in the widow's gaze, as if she too was trapped in a web of sorrow. In that moment, he understood that the line between victim and predator was often blurred, and that even the most sinister tales could have hidden depths. Without hesitation, Sam lunged forward, engaging in a fierce struggle with the Whistling Widow. The cabin shook with their intensity as the widow fought to maintain her grip on the knife. Sam's strength and determination were matched only by the widow's desperate resolve. In a final, desperate move, Sam managed to disarm her, and the room fell silent. The whistle that had haunted Dusty Springs for so long was replaced by the sound of their labored breaths. Removing the widow's veil, Sam discovered the truth. The Whistling Widow was actually a young woman named Emily, who had been driven to madness by a tragic loss. Her whistle was a haunting tribute to her lost love, a way to keep his memory alive the only way she knew how. Sam, overcome with empathy, decided to show mercy rather than vengeance. He left Emily in the cabin, broken and alone, hoping that she would find what she desperately needed. The town of Dusty Springs slowly began to heal, but the memory of the Whistling Widow would forever linger, a reminder that even the darkest souls can be touched by tragedy and driven to unimaginable acts. The Devil's Hand. In the lawless expanses of the Old West, a name struck fear into the hearts of both innocent settlers and hardened outlaws alike. The Devil's Hand. This elusive serial killer had earned his moniker by leaving a trail of destruction and death in his wake, preying upon those who dared to cross his path. Rumors swirled through dusty saloons and campfire tales, each account more gruesome than the last. Some claimed the Devil's Hand was a supernatural force, an embodiment of the dark, unforgiving nature of the frontier. Others whispered that he was a man possessed by a vengeful spirit, seeking retribution against the world that had forsaken him. Caught in the grip of fear, the townsfolk cowered behind locked doors, their eyes filled with desperation. It was then that a mysterious figure emerged from the shadows, a gunslinger known only as the Stranger. Cloaked in a tattered duster, wearing a wide-brimmed hat that concealed his features, the Stranger exuded an aura of danger and intrigue. The Stranger, driven by an insatiable thirst for justice, vowed to bring an end to the Devil's Hand. Armed with a Colt revolver and a steely resolve, he embarked on a treacherous journey through lawless territories, tracking the killer's twisted path of bloodshed. Across desolate plains and rugged mountain passes, the Stranger followed the clues left behind by the Devil's Hand. The scenes of carnage were etched into his mind, a reminder of the darkness he was determined to eradicate. He encountered broken communities and desperate souls along the way, their thirst shattered by the fear that gripped the land. As the Stranger delved deeper into the heart of the outlaw's domain, he uncovered a web of corruption and betrayal that stretched far beyond the individual acts of a single killer. The Devil's Hand was merely a symptom of a diseased society where power and greed held sway over justice and compassion. In his pursuit, the Stranger found himself facing not only the Devil's Hand, but also a network of ruthless bandits, corrupt lawmen, and shadowy figures who sought to maintain the status quo. It became clear the fight for justice would be far more complex than he had anticipated. But the Stranger was undeterred. He rode through blazing gunfights, narrowly escaping death at every turn. With each fight, he honed his skills and unraveled the threads that bound the outlaw to his twisted deeds. Determination burned bright in his eyes as he neared the final showdown. At a desolate crossroads, the Stranger finally confronted the Devil's Hand face to face. A deadly silence enveloped them as they stood in the shadow of an abandoned ghost town, their eyes locked in a battle of wills. The Stranger's hand hovered over his revolver, ready to draw at the slightest provocation. In a flash of movement, the gunslingers drew their weapons. Bullets tore through the air, the sound echoing through the silent streets. The Stranger fought with a grace born of relentless training, his bullets finding their mark with lethal accuracy. The Devil's Hand matched him shot for shot, fueled by savage determination to continue his reign of terror. But in the end, it was the Stranger who emerged triumphant. The Devil's Hand fell, his dark journey coming to an abrupt end. The townsfolk, burdened by fear for so long, rejoiced that their newfound freedom, their spirits uplifted by the Stranger's unwavering resolve. As the Stranger rode off into the sunset, his true identity forever shrouded in mystery, he left behind a legacy, a symbol of hope and the unyielding fight for justice. The tale of the Devil's Hand would be whispered for generations to come, a reminder that even in the harshest of landscapes, the spirit of righteousness could prevail. The Surgeon. In the smoky saloons of the Old West, whispers circulated about a serial killer known as the Surgeon. This cold-blooded murderer targeted professional gamblers, their lifeless bodies discovered with a single playing card clutched tightly in their hand. The townsfolk were gripped by fear, knowing that their love for the game could be their downfall. Amidst the chaos, a skilled gunslinger named Rebecca emerged as the town's last hope. Rebecca had witnessed the devastating effects of the Surgeon firsthand when her own brother fell victim to the killer's twisted game. Driven by vengeance and a burning desire for justice, she embarked on a relentless pursuit to unmask the Surgeon. Rebecca traveled from town to town, following the trail of death and destruction left in the killer's wake. With her trusted six-shooter at her side and a deck of cards as her only clue, she played a high-stakes game of cat and mouse with the Surgeon. As the body count rose, Rebecca's resolve only grew stronger. She knew that every life she saved was a step closer to achieving her brother's death. The townspeople looked to her as a beacon of hope, their faith in justice restored by her relentless pursuit of the Surgeon. Finally, on a moonlit night, Rebecca found herself in the notorious gambling den of the Diablo's Haven. This place was a haven for deceit and greed, a fitting lair for the Surgeon. With nerves of steel, she entered the dimly lit establishment, ready to face the killer and end his deadly reign. The atmosphere in the Diablo's Haven was thick with tension as Rebecca made her way through the crowded room. Eyes followed her every move, whispers fading into silence, and then she saw him, a man shrouded in shadows, setting a high-stakes poker table. Rebecca approached the table, her heart pounding with a mix of adrenaline and anticipation. The Surgeon, confident in his skill, flashed a wicked smile. A showdown of wits and skill ensued. With chips clinking and cards flipping, the stakes were high, but Rebecca was determined to win. In a final climatic hand, Rebecca revealed her winning cards, a royal flush. The Surgeon, consumed by rage and desperation, reached for his hidden weapon, but Rebecca was faster. With a single shot, she ended the reign of the Surgeon, avenging her brother's death and restoring peace to the town. Rebecca's name would forever be etched in the lore of the Old West as a legend, a symbol of justice and unwavering determination. The tale of the Surgeon would be recounted around campfires, a cautionary tale for those who thought they could cheat fate. The Shadow Rider. In the heart of the Old West, a notorious serial killer terrorized the vast desert plains, known as the Shadow Rider. This ruthless outlaw was a master of disguise and cunning. Legend has it he would stalk his victims silently, leaving behind only a single eagle feather as his calling card, a chilling reminder of his presence. One fateful night, a seasoned bounty hunter named Jake took it upon himself to bring down the Shadow Rider once and for all. Jake had a reputation of being relentless and fearless himself, but the Shadow Rider proved to be his greatest challenge yet. Days turned into weeks as Jake pursued the elusive killer across rugged canyons, through ghost towns frozen in time, and beneath the scorching sun of the unforgiving desert. The relentless chase took its toll on both men, pushing them to their physical and mental limits. Each time Jake thought he finally caught up, the Shadow Rider managed to slip away, leaving behind a trail of fear and death. As the pursuit wore on, Jake found himself consumed by an obsession to unmask the Shadow Rider's true identity. He delved deep into the histories and secrets of the towns where the killer had struck, piecing together fragments of information and following tenuous leads. The closer he got, the more dangerous the game became. Finally, after a long, treacherous pursuit, Jake cornered the Shadow Rider in an abandoned mining town nestled deep within the desert. The two men faced each other in a dusty street, bathed in the dying light of the setting sun. The air crackled with tension as they stood there, their eyes locked, two predators ready to pounce. A silence settled over the town as the wind whispered through the empty buildings, as if even nature itself held its breath in anticipation. Then a sudden burst of movement, gunfire erupted, echoing through the ghost town. Bullets whizzed by, shattering windows and kicking up plumes of dust. The rhythm of their exchange was like a deadly dance, each move calculated and precise. Jake fought with the ferocity of a man possessed, fueled by the memories of the Shadow Rider's victims and the relentless pursuit that had brought him to this moment. The Shadow Rider, too, was no ordinary adversary. He seemed to possess an otherworldly grace, moving with an eerie fluidity as he evaded Jake's every shot. The duel raged on, the tension escalating with each passing second. The two men circled one another, their gazes locked in a deadly game of cat and mouse. Jake's senses were heightened, his instincts honed to a razor's edge, and then, in a split-second decision, he unleashed a daring maneuver. With lightning speed, Jake shot his opponent in the hand, sending the Shadow Rider's weapon clattering to the ground. They stood face to face, their chests heaving, the weight of their shared history heavy in the air. For a moment, time seemed to stand still as they stared into each other's eyes, two men forever changed by their relentless pursuit of one another. In the end, it was Jake who emerged victorious, but not without wounds of his own. The Shadow Rider lay motionless on the ground, his secret identity finally revealed. It turned out to be the man behind the mask was none other than the infamous sheriff from the nearby town, driven mad by his own thirst for power. As the news of the Shadow Rider's unmasking spread, the townsfolk breathed in a collective sigh of relief. The reign of terror had come to an end, but the scars they had left behind would forever serve as a reminder of the thin line between justice and madness in the Old West. Thanks for watching until the end. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. And join me next time for more Top Scares with Mr. Biggs.